What is up, everybody? Back again, Packers football, and we are here for day 15, I think, of training camp. It's hard to keep it all straight with the games and then the family night and then the walkthroughs. And today was like a half speed kind of practice for the Packers, but also still exciting because, as I mentioned yesterday, um, Elkin Jenkins, Robert Tonyan, and Christian Watson are off the PUP list for the Packers. Jenkins is coming in. I think he has been kind of slotted into that right tackle spot. He was in there a little bit today for walkthroughs. A real short practice for him, but he was in there with the starting group, the ones at right tackle. I didn't know where they'd plug him into, if it would be left guard, kind of where he kind of came into the league at, or right tackle. I know he can play left tackle as well, but I think they're projecting that Bach will be back sooner than later, and they'll put Jenkins at right tackle, have Bach at left tackle. Then we'll have the bookends on either side, kind of like the Chad Clifton and Mark Tauscher from back in like the early 2000s with Favre, and then with Rodgers a little bit as well. Pretty exciting that Jenkins is back for a big man that has to move on those knees. For him to be back this quickly and be ready to go is exciting. Um, it really solidifies that right side of the Packers offensive line. I know they had Royce Newman in there. He came in a little bit after Jenkins came out, but Royce kind of scared me at right tackle there. You put Jenkins out there, you're good. You know that he's going to play at a Pro Bowl level. He's a guy that he's he came into the league kind of just undervalued, and he really showed up right away. Showed he can play multiple positions: left tackle, left guard, right tackle, right guard. He even played center, I think, a little bit as well. So Jenkins is a guy that we need to have out there on the field. I just really am excited that he's back with a month to spare, pretty much. So he should be really ready to go by the time kickoff on September 11th happens. Um, Getting him out there kind of, like I said, solidifies that right tackle spot. Whoever you put in at right guard next to him, it looks like it might be Jake Hansen. It could be Royce Newman, but either way, one of those two guys. Zach Tom's kind of in the mix a little bit as well. I think they kind of like him on the left side more, but it looks like John Runyan Jr.'s got that left guard spot pretty much solidified. I think they like him a lot at that spot. Otherwise, they probably would have put Jenkins there. The fact that Runyan's played so well kind of shores up that position and allows them to kick Jenkins out to right tackle. So having Bach on the left tackle and Jenkins on the right tackle kind of shores up both sides. Like I said, you have those bookends, and then whoever you put at guards pretty much protected by those tackles, and then you have a really consistent, steady center in Josh Myers, who hopefully comes on this year. The Packers had a chance to draft Creed Humphreys last year out of Oklahoma. They went with Josh Myers instead out of Ohio State. They were both available when they picked Myers, and Humphreys went on to be probably the best center last year in football, and some are saying he's probably the best center in football, period. So hopefully Myers can make those, have that development that we hope that he would have had last year, except for he got injured. But the fact that this offensive line is starting to shape out is really exciting. Getting one piece of the puzzle back. Bach's coming soon. I saw an interview with him. He said that the knee's feeling good. He's going to be ready to play when he gets cleared. Obviously, he's frustrated with how everything's played out. He's gone through 3 surgeries, multiple setbacks throughout all this time. It's been 20 months. He hurt himself on New Year's Day of New Year's Eve of 2020. So it's been a long time. He wants to get out there, and obviously he just has to be right. So I look for him to be back, not for week 1. If he does make it back week 1, that'd be amazing. We need him back there so he can block Zadarius Smith. But I'm thinking by week 4 against Tampa, he should be back, or that's week 3. So week 4 against New England, hopefully he's back. I think he has to be back by week 4 or week 6 based on the fact that he's on the PUP list. And if he's not back by then, I think he's done for the season at that point. So hopefully he can get onto the field. Just the fact that it's taken this long has me a little bit concerned. But like I said, getting Jenkins back, huge piece. He can kick out the left tackle if there's issues out there. Having him on that offensive line is just such a versatile player to move around wherever you need him, wherever you might have a hole or a weakness, and then hopefully there's a guy that can fill in wherever he was and play at a decent level. I think this offensive line is really starting to shape out. You got Yash at left tackle, and like I said, John Runyan Jr. at left guard, and then Myers, and then Hanson or Newman at that right guard spot. That'll be a battle now that Jenkins is back. It'll just push these guys to perform better because they all want to play. I know Zach Tom's been kind of in the mix, and Sean Ryan was in with the 2s, but we saw him shaking up a little bit. I think he's fine though, but still, there's a lot of guys the Packers have to look at, see what they can do, and there's only 2 more preseason games coming, so a lot of moving parts. The Packers actually, along with all NFL teams, need to be cut from a 90-player roster down to an 85-player roster by tomorrow, Tuesday. I think it's like 4 Eastern time, so whatever that is in your area, they need to knock it down to 85 by then. And it's pretty interesting because they have already started making their cuts. I was looking at who they might sign, who they might cut, and who might be kind of on the bubble. Obviously, we were looking for the kicker, Gabe Burchich to be to be cut. He shanked that one so bad, it was horrible. In the preseason game, it looked like it was blocked, but it wasn't. It went farther left than it did straight, and I thought they'd cut him after that exact second, but they didn't. Now they have since then. They also cut Dante Vaughn, the cornerback, who I thought was had some plays, but they let him go. Cole Schneider, the offensive guard, he's cut. And Randy Ramsey, the outside linebacker, he just got recently cut. I think he was the most notable of those guys. He was kind of in line for that outside linebacker 3 spot. I really thought he had a chance to make it to the final roster. He was kind of a guy last year with Jonathan Garvin that was going back and forth. But I think with the emergence of guys like Tipa and guys like JJ and Agbar, Randy Ramsey is expendable, and they need to make these cuts. So wherever they can find guys, they will. They had already cut Steven Wirtle, the long snapper, a couple days ago. They did acquire a tight end, Nate Becker, from the Panthers, I believe. So they're going to give him a look, something to watch. I know like I said, they cut that kicker, Gabe Burchich. I guess he's on IR, undisclosed issue. But they did sign, because Crosby is still rehabbing, still working out. He's still on the PUP list technically, and so the Packers need a kicker, and so they went out and got Ramiz Ahmed. Now Ramiz Ahmed played, I think he was drafted or played in some other leagues and here and there, but he kicked a 61-yarder, and he's got a leg. He's got a really good leg. Dude's got a hell of a leg, but he is super inaccurate. So he might be able to kick it real far, but it might not go through the uprights. So, like paper football. But, yeah, it's nice to have a guy that's got a super big leg. So if they can kind of work with him and work out the kinks where he's not super accurate, maybe we can get a guy that can push Crosby a little bit. I really think it's Crosby's job to lose. I do not think it's going to be an issue, but I look for it to be a little bit of a battle at least, so something to look for as time goes on a little bit. I'm excited to see Crosby get back there. He does have a big year ahead of him if he can make kicks. I think he's kind of in line with Robbie Gould, so they're going to go back and forth, but they're both can knock out some guys who aren't playing. I think Crosby can get to 12th on the all-time list. If he's competing with Gould, I think Gould will be ahead of him. But Crosby, if he made 30, I think he moves into like 12th all the time on the all-time field goals made list. He's almost to 400. So those numbers I'd have to look at again. But just the exciting stuff. If Crosby can make some kicks and help this team win some games, it'll be exciting to see him kind of hit his own personal milestones as well along the way. He's the guy that is trying to get off the PUP list. So, like I mentioned, Elgton Jenkins back off the PUP list. Super exciting. Robert Tonyan. This guy had 11 touchdowns, receptions 2 years ago. Last year, he kind of came on a little slow at the beginning of the season. He started getting it going finally in that Cardinals game when he tore his ACL and was out for the season. The game where Kylin Hill also tore his ACL was out for the season. Such a bummer losing both of those guys. Obviously, Kylin Hill was the third back and kind of a rookie kick returner. But on that kick return, he shouldn't have come out. Hopefully you learn from that mistake, and it was such a bummer to have him out for the season. But having Tonyan back is huge. Tyler Davis had all this talk in OTAs and all summer going into training camp, and since training camp, he's kind of just fizzled out. Not much to mention in practice or in the preseason game. He really has not come along. We know Mercedes Lewis is Mercedes Lewis. He's just going to be a solid vet like he has always been for the Packers. Josiah DeGuara is a guy that's coming along, but we're still hoping to see more out of him. And so Tyler Davis was the one that we really thought was going to be the target the number one tight end target this year until Tonyan came back. We didn't know when Tonyan would be back from this ACL. We were hoping he'd be back sooner than later, but we didn't know. He's kind of on the same timeline as Kylin Hill. They tore that ACL on October 29th. Won't forget it. So it's to have him back already. He's bigger than Hill. He's a lot more weight and pressure on that knee, but he's back. These guys are crazy athletes. It's nuts that it's less than a year for any of these guys. I mean, I know years ago the ACL was at least a year minimum, and then AP came back faster than anybody, and everybody started kind of pushing the limit there. But to have Tonyan back, he's a huge target. Rodgers trusts him. Rodgers likes him. They're friends with each other. Little Bobby. He's a guy that can make plays, stretch the defense, stretch the field, and who just, having a guy that Rodgers trusts is huge. If Tyler Davis wasn't getting on the level with Rodgers that we need, being able to bring Tonyan in and kind of ease Tyler Davis along, if he's going to go along with, is a huge piece. It's another guy out there as a weapon, especially with these young rookie receivers coming in. You need some veteran presence and a guy who's, had success in this league. I know he didn't make the Pro Bowl that year. He got snubbed for Evan Ingram, who had 3 touchdowns, even though Tonyan had 11. But that's neither here or there. He, he was kind of a victim of his own success, his 1-year success, because they wanted him to do it again, and then he got hurt last year, so kind of a bummer. Hopefully he can rebound this year and be a big piece to the Packers puzzle. I'm excited that he's back. I think Rodgers is probably excited that he's back. I know Matt LaFleur is excited that he's back, but that's another big piece. He's another starter. Elgton Jenkins, starter. Bobby Tonyan, starter. Those are 2 huge starting pieces that the Packers just got back. It's, 2 guys that they didn't really have last year towards the end, and guys that really contributed the year before when they made it to the NFC Championship game. So huge to have them back. And then finally, we get to see number 9, Christian Watson, the rookie out of North Dakota State. He is finally back out on the field, running little routes, slant routes, and just doing little things here and there. They're not pushing him, but he looks really good. Some of the rehab work that he was doing on the sidelines, he was really shifty, really quick. A lot of the choppy stuff, looked really good. Obviously, he's a 6'4.5", 6'5" guy with 4.3 speed. He can definitely stretch the field. He's a guy that can pressure the defense and who is going to demand attention no matter what. I think he's a guy like MVS. I know MVS has kind of turned himself into a decent receiver now with Kansas City, and we'll see what he does this year. But I think Christian Watson can be even better than MVS was for the Packers. MVS did drop a lot. I think if Watson can catch those and he's not going to demand double teams right away, he's going to have that single coverage, maybe against a safety or like the second or at least the third corner of the other team. You think Lazard and maybe Dobbs are going to demand the ones and twos. So Watson's going to have his opportunities for sure. So for a guy like him who came in injured, kind of had to sit out and watch, he needed to get the reps in with Rodgers and just kind of get on the field, kind of get the feel of everything. I thought if he could shoot for that Kansas City game to make it back by, it would at least give him that. I think the fact that he got back now so quickly, right after the San Francisco game, it's a bummer he couldn't get in there for that. But it looks like he's projected to play against New Orleans at Lambeau on Thursday. That's going to be super exciting. Jordan Love's going to have Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, Samari Torre, Juwan Winfrey. He's going to have some weapons out there with him. And I don't think Alkin Jenkins will play, but at least this offensive line is starting to shape itself out. And I think it's going to be a whole different product on the field this Thursday with Love. He's going to feel a lot more comfortable at home, at Lambeau, playing in front of Lambeau or Packer fans. And I think we're going to see the development start to kick in here. That was his first real action in a long time. He played against the Lions a little bit last year, but this game he knew he was coming in to actually start, and now he's gets another one under his belt. So I'm excited to see how he develops, but to see Watson out there finally is huge. He's just another guy that can really be a weapon for this offense. I know Romeo Dobbs has stepped up, kind of surprised everybody, a fourth rounder out of Nevada. He's bigger than Devontae by an inch. He's 6'2". Devontae is like 6'1". He's faster than Devontae. Devontae ran a 4.56 40, and Dobbs ran a 4.50 40. So just a little bit bigger and a little bit faster. But obviously Devontae came in with some of the drop issues. I think Dobbs is kind of having those too. But Dobbs already has shown that he can be that guy. He looks the part, and he's already making plays. It's just kind of cleaning up some of those little issues that he's been having. I really like what I've seen out of him. So it allows Watson to kind of come along a little bit slower, not so much pressure on him to step up right away and be that guy since he was drafted so high. Dobbs is kind of taking the pressure off of the whole receiving unit because he has played so well. It takes the pressure off of Lazard from being the number one guy, being that guy, from Cobb, from doing too much, and it just allows everybody to play. Sammy Watkins, have not heard a whole lot about him, but everybody says he's going to make this team. I really hope so. It looks like the Packers, if they keep, the three rookies and then Lazard and Cobb, that's already 5 guys. You have Winfrey, that's 6. Watkins, that's 7, and then it's kind of pushing it there with 7. I don't know what they're going to do. There's other positions they need to keep more guys at. It'll be interesting to see how it all formulates. I'm just excited that they have this issue now with enough good receivers that it's like, who's going to make it? How many of them are going to stay? And is a guy like Watkins going to be out there? Is Winfrey going to make it? I know with Rodgers' blessing, I think he is going to make it. That means that it's going to be tough for all these guys, because I think if you have all of them, it's 8 total. And I don't want to see the Packers keeping 8 receivers, especially with offensive line questions with Bach and with defensive line kind of questions. They might keep 5 or 6 like they did pretty much all last year. They had 5 on the active roster, except one game I think they had 6. So that's a position where I kind of only had them having like 4 guys. So it's something we're going to have to look at, because they're going to need some depth at middle linebacker. They might keep an extra corner because of special teams. So it's going to be interesting how this roster shapes out. The practice squad is huge this year. They need to put guys on there that won't get stolen from other teams, but that they like as well. So it's going to be tough how they all navigate that situation. But I trust Goody at this point. He's drafted well this year. He did really good with free agent signings. I know Sammy Watkins and Jaron Reed stepped up so much already. I just think this team is really set to make a splash this year. I heard on some sports talk radio today that Packers might be the best defense in the league, and they know it. And I think, with the layers they have with Clark and Smith and, the young guys and Reed, and then you got Rashawn Gary. It's with Campbell and Walker, and then the corners. It's going to be a no-fly zone, and they're going to have so much pressure and so much penetration up front. It's going to be so disruptive. I want to see how offenses play against this Packers defense. I think this defense is going to be really tough to play against, pass against, run against, everything. There's going to be so much penetration up front with Clark and Reed and Wyatt. It's going to be tough up front, and then you have Gary coming off the edge who just looks unstoppable, unblockable. They're going to unleash Bane, and he looks so good. Preston Smith's, coming off another year where he was out for one game last year. He missed one game in his whole career, but he's going to be Mr. Consistency again. And then you got Campbell teaching Walker in the middle, and that combo is going to be fierce. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people getting past that wall this year. Not a lot of big runs. Both guys run 4.5, and then behind them they have Savage, who is real fast, like a 4.3 guy, and then obviously Jair's like a 4.38 guy, and Stokes ran like a 4.29. I think they even had him like a 4.22 at one of like the pro day or one of those side things, but still he's under a sub 4.3 guy. Packers finally have speed on defense, something that was lacking for years. I just have visions of Clay Matthews chasing Colin Kaepernick down the field after he ran for like 160 yards against us in the 2012 NFC Championship game. But now the Packers have speed. They have speed. There's speed all over this defense, and I just am super excited to see how they play this year together. I think Goody's done a great job getting this defense where he wanted it, and they have guys at every level, and there's no weaknesses. I think there's, if they have Dean Lowry out there on the defensive line, he's probably the lowest graded guy on the whole defense, and if that's the case, you're in a pretty good spot. So I'm excited to see what happens with this year, but having other people talk and hearing the chatter about how good this Packers defense could be really makes me excited. So, again, today was a walkthrough, kind of halfway jog through. So Jenkins took a couple snaps at right tackle. Then Royce Newman went back out to right tackle. It was just a light practice for Jenkins today. Rodgers threw a lot of nice passes. Rodgers is just super consistent. Obviously, he doesn't think he needs preseason games. Doesn't want to risk the injuries. Doesn't really want to risk showing the other teams too much. And he said he gets enough out of just the practices. And actually, we play the Saints on Thursday. Sorry, I knew it was Thursday. And I think tomorrow and Wednesday Tuesday and Wednesday we have a scrimmage with the Saints. They come in and we just play against them, and that's what the players really are starting to lean towards enjoying and liking as part of the learning tools, is doing those types of things, because they can set up scenarios and situational football that they can go through, and they can set up like goal line things or red zone things, or down points, and they got to drive the field, all kinds of scenarios. They can set them up and do it with another team who's not their team, and they can actually go against each other. The issue here, though, is this is where guys start getting injured, is stuff like full action, full contact football. Knock on wood. I've been knocking on wood, and so far we've been really doing well injury-wise. All we've been really hearing is guys coming back from injury, not so many guys going onto the list. Guys who were going onto the list are guys who really weren't going to make the team anyway, so not a big deal. But still, we don't want injuries. This is kind of when it starts, is when the games start and when these full collision practices occur with these full scrimmages occur with these other teams. Like I said, just hopefully everybody comes out safe and healthy. But this is a good way for guys to really start getting the reps that they need and start separating from other guys on the team. There's guys at outside linebacker that we're trying to figure out. At safety, I know Vernon Scott's been in with the starting defense ever since Darnell Savage has gone down. He's basically been with the ones ever since. I know they put Sean Davis in a little bit here and there, but for the most part, Vernon Scott's the one who's back there. He's been a guy that's been in the Packers system for a few years now. He knows it well. He's got speed. I want to see how he kind of reacts, read and reacts when it's a play action, or when you think it's going to be a pass and it's a run and it's a pass, and how he kind of, if he gets out of position, how he kind of makes up ground, things like of that nature. That's what I'm curious about him. Darnell Savage is so fast and so good at covering a lot of space quickly, especially if he gets beat, he can make up for it. So I hope Savage is not out. He kind of laughed about the injury. He said it was a fast person injury, so I'm hoping that it is just that and it isn't going to affect him moving forward. We do have, basically a month, just under 4 weeks now until football starts, which is awesome. We're under a month. It's so great, but that means that every day, if he's not healthy, is a day getting closer to those soft tissue injuries being a long-term kind of lingering issue, and we don't want that for Savage, so hopefully he can bounce back quick. But if that isn't the case, we need a guy like Vernon Scott to come out there and play, because then, like I just said, Dean Lowry was the weakest link. Now Vernon Scott will definitely be the weakest link on that back end, and that's definitely a key spot. So hopefully we can get all these guys healthy, but it's good to know there's a guy back there that can do a decent job or do a formidable job and kind of keep us in it. Other guys that are fighting for jobs, like I said, are behind the tight end. There's other players, the running back position, they're battling there too. It's gonna be, the next 2 weeks is gonna be super exciting for pretty much all teams. You hear a lot of different rookies out of different camps that are really starting to excel. You hear, guys like Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis. You saw what they did this weekend. There's a lot of great things going on in the league, and all these guys are really trying to make their final push to make this final 53. The Packers are starting to do cuts. Like I said, tomorrow by 4, they're going to have to get down to 85. I don't know what they're at exactly just right this second, but they've already made some cuts, and they will continue to do so. Rodgers was really feeding it to Christian Watson today, just trying to get a little rapport with the young guy, trying to get him some balls, trying to just get him up to speed. I really liked what I saw from Rodgers today, just kind of getting the little guy under his wing, And so, Rodgers wasn't always like that. He wasn't always super patient with the young guys. He didn't always want to help them get along, get up to speed. He, when Love came, he said, basically it's not my job to get him going. He's been great with Love. He's really been a mentor to him. These young guys, he's really kind of showed them what to do. He wants to teach them, but he doesn't want to teach them twice. So if they're making mental mistakes more than once, that he won't stand for. But he knows they're going to make mistakes, and it's just a teachable moment. Just learn from it, move forward, do it better, do it good next time. Don't make the same mistake twice. And that's what the difference with Rodgers this year is going to be huge. He said he had that ego death, if you go back and watch my film or my video on ayahuasca and Rodgers. But Rodgers is going to be a different guy this year. I think he's going to be way more easy to play with, a lot easier out on the field, but he's still going to come out with that determination and that, amazing arm talent. So to see him kind of letting Watson get up to speed and showing him, that, yeah, we're waiting for you. We'll let you get caught up, and we want to get you part of this offense because you are going to be a guy that we count on at some point in this season to make big plays for us, and we want you to be ready. It's just awesome to see that Watson's finally out on the field. It's been, tough for him, I'm sure. Seeing guys that got drafted below him, like, George Pickens and Sky Moore, play really well in their preseason debuts. Watson didn't get a chance to do that, so hopefully against the Saints on Thursday, he gets the chance to show everybody why the Packers traded 2 second-round picks from, I think, the 53rd and 59th all the way up to the 34th to take Watson. I'm just excited to see the kid play, so hopefully we can get through these next 2 days unscathed and get into that preseason game, and we can watch all these guys get back at it. Other notables from today, basically, Dominic Dafty came back from injury, the fullback tight end guy. He's kind of on the bubble now, especially with Tonyan coming back. It looks like Tonyan's going to make the squad for sure. Obviously, Mercedes Lewis, so that's 2. Josiah DeGuara, that's 3. So Packers are probably only going to keep 4 tight ends. I know Elise Mack was on some of those special teams plays, but I don't see him making it really. I know that Tyler Davis and Dominic Daphne. Dominic Daphne was on the squad last year, and Davis is a guy they really like, but with Tiny coming back, it's kind of going to be a battle for that 4th spot. I don't think Packers keep more than 4 guys at that tight end spot, especially with their need for extra receivers and extra offensive linemen this year. But that'll be a battle that goes down to the wire. There's so many of these position battles, not so many starting battle positions except for the receiver spot, but we'll see what they do there. I think they'll start with the vets they trust early on and then kind of, bring in these younger guys gradually. Dobbs might get a lot of the first looks because of what he's done so far, but, Samari and Watson might come in a little bit slower. I think they'll play week 1. I just think that they're not going to be every down type of guys. But still, we still have a long way to go still. Watson just got back, and just exciting to see him out there. I know today was a little bit slow. I think it's just because they're going to get into these full action, full speed, full collision scrimmage games with the Saints these next 2 days, and they want their guys to be healthy and ready to go. So just really great day of walkthrough, just kind of getting guys going, figuring out where they're going to line up, and getting things situated. The season is coming. We're knocking days out. It seems so far ago, and now we're really ramping things up here. All over the league, there's chatter from different position groups and different players and what guys expect and what guys think they're going to do. And everybody's so hopeful at this point of the season. So it's really an exciting time. How the next 3 weeks go for some teams, major injuries or just certain setbacks can really jeopardize the season. So it's really crucial that everything goes according to plan and these guys really stay on schedule. So super exciting. That's another day of Packers training camp. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. It really helps, I guess. They say that in other ones and I really don't know, but probably helps. So please do it. And thank you for watching. Go Packers and peace out. See you on the next one.